The best restaurant sites, you never see them on LoopNet, you never see them on CoStar. They're already gone by the time you start searching. Why? Because brokers and landlords are going to send those sites to their preferred clients first. And if you or your broker are not in that inner circle, you are left out in the cold. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on off-market sites, why it hurts emerging franchise brands, and what you can do to make sure you are no longer locked out. Create a safer, more efficient kitchen and better protect your bottom line with Restaurant Technologies. Its total oil management solution helps minimize the dangers that come with traditional oil management, such as oil burns, spills, and slip and fall accidents. The end-to-end automated oil management system delivers, filters, monitors, and recycles your cooking oil, taking one of the dirtiest jobs out of the kitchen. And there's no upfront cost. Control the kitchen chaos with Restaurant Technologies and make your kitchen safer while maximizing efficiency. And again, no upfront cost. Control the chaos with Restaurant Technologies and make your kitchen safer while maximizing efficiency. Visit rt-inc.com or email customer care at rt-inc.com or call 888-796-4997 to get started. All right, guys, welcome back to Close Monday. I'm your host, Kyle and Sarah, and I own a company called 10Rep. I'm a former restaurant owner, and all I ever want to do with this podcast is really inform you as to what exactly happens behind the scenes in the market on a day-to-day basis so you can better prepare your restaurant, your franchise for growth. Now, it's not always easy. This is truly one of the things that has to be explained to my clients time and time again, because I'm going to outline the scenario that plays out in my life almost every single day. Meaning myself and my client, the franchisor, onboard a new franchisee. And that franchisee has been excited about joining the brand for a while, so they've been active in the market. And in their story of telling me and sharing with me sites that they want me to take a look at, sites that they want to consider, there's inevitably a story where they say, there was this great space, it never had a sign in it, the whatever store that was in there before was vacant, and then all of a sudden, the next day, it was a crumble cookie. It was a Chipotle. It was a Starbucks. Whatever it is, they never saw it. They got mad at their broker. They got calls that were never answered, emails that went unresponded to. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Why does that happen? And how can you better position yourself to be aware of these dynamics and put yourself in the know with the people who are controlling these properties and can let you know when this is coming available, what can be made available, and things like that. So as usual, let's just get right into it. All right, so here's the deal. This is, as they say, a relationship business. And when I say this business, I mean commercial real estate. You are dealing with, and you have to just kind of put yourself in the property owner's shoes for a second, but brokers and landlords do not blast out their best sites, not publicly anyway. So I'll give you a little description, or what do you call this? Like a role play with myself of how this works. They have a fantastic property with a tenant that maybe is on their way out nationally, or a mom and pop that kind of just, quote unquote, got lucky in the space and they couldn't make it work. Whatever the case is, it's coming available. Now, in the traditional sense, right, in a maybe not so prime location, the landlord will reach out to their broker and say, hey, we got to start marketing this site. They just told me they need to terminate their lease, or we just worked out a buyout and the space is becoming available. Now, that broker most likely lives in this retail restaurant space, and they will say, I have a client, or I have some people I could call. Let's not put it on the market. Or the decision is made strategically. We're not putting this on the market. This is a prime piece. It's a pad site. It's a former whatever. It's a drive-through. You get my point. They don't need to garner attention from the masses. They have a Rolodex of people who are always reaching out to them. In cases of like a larger REIT or a larger landlord, those conversations are happening around the country. So it's, even if it's not a direct dial, it's just one touch away from saying, hey, can you call Kava? Can you call Sweet Green? Can you call Shake Shack? And that's how that deal happens. Now, it could happen, doesn't work out for any of them. But they'll go through the layers. And if it doesn't work for another restaurant use, they'll go to a dessert concept. They'll go to a coffee shop. They'll go to a retailer then, if maybe it's not working out for whatever reasons. The power's not good. There's no grease trap, whatever it is. But they are going to rely on their relationships that they've built over time, and they're going to reach out to those brands and let them know, you don't even have to, don't worry about it. I didn't call anybody else or whatever. Makes their life easier. They most likely don't have to pay as much of a fee in some cases, but that's how that works. These brands are clearly repeat clients. They've proven that they can deliver. They have the credit, and that's why they get listings before they hit any of these sites. Period. No signs, no online, nothing. It goes from one to the other, and you just don't get to see it. So if you're an emerging brand, let's just say you have 5 units or even 10 units or less, you're not even on their radar. But if your broker has a good relationship with them, they may kind of keep you up to date on some other opportunities that may be available. Okay. Again, relationship business. That's why you hear that phrase all the time. It's because they want to rely on people that they know who have the tenants and can deliver them quickly without a headache around the financials and all that stuff. Now I think it's clear. This is unfortunate, right? This doesn't help franchisors. How do you grow a brand if a good amount of the sites that are on the market, particularly the really good sites, the prime sites, you never even get to see? It's frustrating. You get mad at brokers, you fire them, you hire another broker, but that's not the answer. It could be the answer, but it's not always the right answer. So the problem is really that you're chasing online sites. And that's just, that's what everybody's doing. And that's not going to work out to your advantage. Now, what I will say is they're a good entry point into the conversation. And by the way, feel free to share this with your broker or share the transcript, whatever you want to do. But I'm not saying to ignore online sites. What I'm saying is just understand that those prime sites that you've been tracking and maybe get annoyed by, that's what's happening. But you should call that broker in that center and say, hey, I know you probably have a deal working here, or hey, just inquire as to what's happening. They'll tell you, okay? If you don't have the relationship, you got to start the relationship. If your broker's just looking online and not picking up the phone and making calls, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And I am a digital first, tech first guy. And when I'm looking for sites, I'm texting, I'm emailing, I'm calling, I'm doing voice drops, everything to get the attention. And that's what it takes. It's not going to be publicly available, something that you can just, boom, we'll take it. Very rarely, okay? Especially when they know you're a franchise. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Again, I have said it before, and I'll say it again. Landlords shop for credit, not for concepts. They have bills to pay as well. I know that relationship can be a little bit, well, they're making all this money. The reality is it's a completely different business than yours. Just because they have a lot of money coming in does not mean that they also don't have a lot of money going out. So every dollar matters to them as well. And it really does help to put yourself in the landlord's shoes. So now what? Now you're left with B locations. You spend months preparing, touring, negotiating, back and forth phone calls, Zoom calls, back on the site, contractors. It's a lot of work. And then all that time, you're finding out that the national brands, the corporate brands, are just signing prime lease after prime lease in markets all around you, all over the country. It is insanely frustrating, not just for the franchisee and the franchisor, for the broker, because this is just the game we have to play. It's just something we have to work around. And that's why right now, and kind of always, I guess, flexibility is the key. The more flexible you are, the more opportunities there would be. The more flexible you are, the more opportunities there will be. And the worst part about this, and this is really where it becomes a challenge, and where I let any independent restaurant owners I know who are considering franchising, that it becomes a challenge to manage your franchisees, because as this is happening, you can explain it all you want. And I know this firsthand because I have to make these calls all the time, that they're getting frustrated. They're getting annoyed. There's no space. I want to talk to somebody else. My friend signed a space over here. There's a lot of different things they're hearing. And I get it. I get it. You got the money. You're now locked into a brand. You're excited. You want to get going and you can't find a space. It doesn't seem to make sense, right? You want to give people your money, but it just doesn't. Again, I can't keep saying it just doesn't work that way. And you got to figure out a way to work around it. You can't just keep complaining. So get creative, be flexible, and I think you'll find more opportunities will work for you. The challenge really becomes, and the difficulty that you're going to have as a franchisor, is that it kind of kills trust. They signed on with you because they liked the brand. They trusted the processes that they saw. They liked the overall vibe. They felt comfortable with the investment. And now this is sort of their first interaction with you as the relationship gets started and it's not going so great. And they start to look at you sideways. But look, it's about managing expectations. And I'll tell you right now, when I'm dealing with a franchisor that has some franchisees that we're working with and we make the introduction, I make one of the C-level executives, if not the CEO, get on a call and I let them hear me say, hey, I'm all about expectations. Here's what I'm going to project the timing to look like. Here's why we have the market overview that we sent you. Hopefully you took a look at that. This is what we're dealing with in terms of vacancy rates. This is how long the average sites are on the market. This is how long it takes typically to get a response from the landlord or finalize an LOI, finalize a lease, construction, permitting, all that stuff. I want to be transparent. Otherwise, everybody's going crazy. Be transparent. Let them know that most of this process is going to be up and down. It is not linear. It doesn't start here and go to here. It's up and down, up and down, up and down 99% of the time. So again, just the way that it is. It's not unique to you. It's not unique to your market. Real estate is a consistent challenge for franchisees and franchisors in this regard. Great, Kyle. Fantastic. That was a downer. What do we do? How do we break into this circle of people? How do we be the ones who get the phone call instead of the ones that are making the phone call? Let's talk about that. So these are the 3 ways that I help my clients break into that off-market community. Now, I'm fortunate. I've been in this business for about 8.5 years, and I have relationships in major markets all across the country. And these folks will call, text, email, let me know when a site's coming available, or when they're carving up one of the big boxes, or when they're carving up one of the big boxes and can make a portion of it available for a restaurant. That's what you want from your broker. And that's what you want to understand from your franchisor. What's our broker's experience? What is our director of real estate's experience in this? Am I going to see sites right away? Or do we have to wait 2 weeks to even see just one site? So let's talk about how we prepare them. Number 1, you got to become a power client. You got to make your presence known to the brokerage community. Again, how do you do that? If you have a franchisee that bought 5 locations in that market, let them know right off the bat. And you can let them know with a very slick presentation, a PDF, a video would be great. I understand not everybody wants me on video, but if you could, that would be great. Let them know like, hey, here's where we're active in this market. This franchisee purchased the rights to 5 locations. We'd love to use you for all 5. And on top of that, here are their financials. Here's their resume, their background, their experience in the restaurant space. What makes them a valuable tenant to the landlord? If you look like you're just doing one-off sites for a franchisee, you're not going to get the attention. If you look like you're doing 5, 10 sites, now you've got everybody's attention, because every property that the landlord owns is not their crown jewel with a major grocery store, a Whole Foods anchored grocery store with a pad site that everybody's chasing. They've got some other sites that might work for you, or they might have one where you're going to get lucky and say, hey, we've been looking for this type of concept. We'd love to show that space to you. So present yourself properly. Be prepared. Don't have them waiting around for information from you. Let them know the concept, the franchisee, how many units they have, and what their experience is. So it should sound something like this. Hey, my name is Kyle and Sarah. I'm calling in regards to XYZ concept. I have a franchisee here who's actually an experienced multi-unit operator. He has the rights to 5 locations in this market, completely self-funded, and he's anxious to get started. Now, I know you guys own 4 or 5 different properties here. We'd love to have a portfolio review with you so we can understand what's currently available, what could be made available, and maybe we can see kind of what works from there. My phone number is blah, 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 blah. That's it. You've now armed them with franchise concept, franchisee. Okay, they have experience. Okay, great. And then you send them over a little bit of information. Well, you got 5 locations. Okay, that seems legit. So that's kind of how that goes. Get prepared. Show that you know what you're talking about. Show that your franchisee is legitimate and can make this project work, period. The second thing I do is I let them know that we've already done our homework. Hey, the reason why we're looking at the site because we understand that this store does XYZ in sales. This Walmart happens to be one of the higher ranked Walmarts in the market. And you guys are surrounded by middle schools, high schools. Those are our customers. We like to be whatever it is. Let them know you did your homework on the site. You're not just blindly picking sites. We focus on this. This is where we feel our customers are, and that's why we're giving you a call. Preparedness is exactly what the corporate stores do. They're not just calling and saying, hey, what, you got anything available around here? No, they know what's there. They kind of see what's available. But anything else? That's a little piece that you guys might be missing. Do you have anything else Do you have anything else that might be available? Any of the properties nearby, a new development, something we could add to our pipeline? That's what you want to talk about. Let them know that you've done your homework. Let them know that you're in the process right now of collecting sites, scoring them against your criteria. And we'd love to circle back if we think anything works. Have a little bit of an edge to you. You're not jumping at whatever they have available. Say, hey, I just kind of want to know what's available. We'll run it through our system and we'll get back to you, see if it's a good fit. But that kind of communication is exactly what you want to hear from your broker, because you want to know that they know what's happening and that they can communicate to their colleagues on the other side as a professional. And that matters a lot. And lastly, I said it before and I'll say it again, you have to leverage your relationships. You have to work with brokers in the market who know what's going on. Now, I made this analogy before and I'll say it again. If I tear my rotator cuff, right, I'm not going to my doctor, right? I have a shoulder issue. It's a major shoulder problem. I'm not going to ask him like, hey, doc, what do you think I should do? He's too general. He's looking at stuffy noses, allergies, broken bones, all these different things. I want to go see the doctor that has done 1,000 shoulder surgeries, who is the rotator cuff expert in this town, city, state. I want them. And that's exactly how you should think about your broker in the market. At 10rep, look, we have the good fortune of not only being operators, but also being in the commercial real estate space, where we can pick up the phone and call directors of leasing, directors of real estate, portfolio managers of these large shopping centers. And we also have the credibility to call local brokerage teams who can then look at our social media and kind of get an idea of who we are and the type of work we do. So that's the way this game is played. Who are you? Who do you represent? And that matters. Me and my team, we sit in these rooms. We sit in these calls. We get invited to these conferences because they know that we can pick up the phone and call a tenant. They know that we have a roster of very well vetted, experienced franchisors and franchisees, and we're not going to bring them garbage. On top of that, we know how the game is played. And they know that we would never call them if we didn't have a proper tenant. So again, it's a relationship business. And that all matters. If you're looking at a franchise, ask them what their real estate process is, please, because you are not going to want to get stuck in this frustrating situation of looking at sites getting signed all around you while you kind of just sit there and struggle and wait and just continually have to deal with this ongoing threat or this looming feeling of date that you have to open by or have a lease executed by. You want to know that everybody's moving forward in the same direction and understanding how this game is played. Don't get frustrated that that's happening. It's going to happen. Just make sure that your team is navigating that process in a way that makes sense. That's how you stop chasing scraps. That's how you start getting into these rooms and on these calls and getting inbound leads. Now, the takeaways here, the off-market market is real. The best sites are always placed before they're listed. And if you're not in on those conversations, you are already miles behind. So I have built a very simple tool. My last podcast was about that. It's a site profitability tool. I also have a site tracker that you can use to score your sites and really just kind of keep track of what's going on in the market. Both are available in the link in my bio. Check them out. Use them. If you have any questions, let me know. But use those two to make sure you are tracking the right sites, tracking the conversations, tracking the contacts, and then running that profitability analysis and making sure that that site actually works for you from a financial perspective. And if you're a franchisor, and you want these deals, you want to understand new development projects in a new market. And if you're a franchisor who wants access to these deals that never hit the market, that's exactly what we do at 10rep. We are your outsourced director of real estate, and we will make sure you have a seat at the table and are at least having conversations about what is truly available in that market. This way, you're in the driver's seat for your brand and for your franchisees from day one. So grab the calculator, grab the site tracker, make sure you're using them. Use them as a resource. Use them as your second brain, because you're going to start hitting the market. You're going to start getting a lot of sites and track everything, even the ones that don't work. Just so you know, hey, I already checked that one out. Doesn't work. They got somebody coming in already. And remember, it's a process. It's a little bit of a game even. All right. So get out there, find your sites. If you have any questions, as always, DM me, email me, and use the calculator, use the tracker. I promise you, they're going to be your best friend. I'll see you guys next week.